How to Train Your Dragon has an amazing story, great character dynamics, and spectacular visuals, and absolutely the most adorable dragon ever. But is it truly as amazing as I remember it being? Hey guys, I'm Lila and I cover your favorite animated films and TV shows, and today I'm talking about the 2010 DreamWorks movie, How to Train Your Dragon, and seeing if this movie lives up to the hype that I've created in my mind, and also reviewing the movie as a whole and my thoughts on it. Okay, so the last time I watched How to Train Your Dragon was in 2020, and that was actually when I had a private story on Snapchat called Movie Reviews, where I would basically give my opinions and thoughts on movies I watched. So basically my YouTube channel before I had a YouTube channel. But one weird thing about this movie is I feel like I always forget so easily what happens. I mean, I know it's about a black cat dragon and Vikings, but before I rewatched it, I did not remember anything. And I don't usually do that with other movies, which is weird. But anyways, this DreamWorks movie has so many fantasy elements in it, including the design, the soundtrack, and the characters, and it all just really brings it to life. So if you haven't watched or you don't remember How to Train Your Dragon, here's what happens in the movie. So we start off in a normal village with some normal Vikings that just so happen to have the hobby of completely demolishing dragons. So that's when we get introduced to the main character, Hiccup, who actually reminds me so much of a guy I went to high school with. Like, they have the exact same personality, the same nerd vibe going on, they talk the exact same. But anyways, the best word to probably describe Hiccup is scrawny, and his father just so happens to be the leader of the Vikings, being the strongest and the toughest. But don't underestimate Hiccup because he actually is a really smart and he made a catapult type thing to knock down a dragon. And that's exactly what he did when he knocked down the rarest dragon of them all, a Night Fury. But of course, no one saw that. And his dad actually ended up saving him from a different dragon that was trying to eat him, and doesn't believe him when he said he knocked down a Night Fury. To be fair, it seems like he's lied before about it, so.
Okay, but I hit a Night Fury.
It's not like the last few times, Dad. I mean, I really actually hit it.
Hiccup then goes to find where the Night Fury landed and tries to kill him, but ultimately he just couldn't do it. He actually ends up setting him free, but the Night Fury's wing is broken so he can't fly away. Hiccup then goes home and tells, or tries to tell, his father that he doesn't want to kill dragons anymore. But this just happens to be the day when his father finally decides that it's time for him to go learn and forces him into dragon training. And that's where we really meet Snotlot, Ruff, Truff, Fish Legs, and Astrid. And no, I could not make these names up even if I tried. I love how chaotic the first training session montage is. It just fits so perfectly with all the characters in this group. Hiccup then reads and learns about all the different dragons, and my personal favorite is Bone Dapper because it has such a cool design. So then we cut to Hiccup befriending the Night Fury, my baby Toothless, and getting him food because he can't fly out of the whole thing that he's in. But then Hiccup has the genius idea to make Toothless a tail so that he can fly again. And it actually works, especially after some modifications. So then back to the dragon training, Hiccup is using all of his tricks that he's learned to actually control and train the dragons themselves. Get it? Train them. So at this point, he's like famous in the village and everyone thinks he's super cool taming the beast. But someone who isn't so much a fan is Astrid, because he's kind of stealing her spotlight. So then he ends up getting chosen to kill the dragon for his final exam. And obviously he doesn't want to do that. So he decides to just straight up ditch the place.
Let's pack up. Looks like you and me are taking a little vacation. Forever.
But Astrid actually ended up following him and discovers Toothless. And I'm not even gonna lie, I bursted out laughing at Hiccup's reaction.
We're dead.
So then Hiccup actually shows Astrid what it's like flying on a dragon, but of course Toothless doesn't exactly like her, so he makes it a bit more exciting. But eventually she does see the beauty of it all. And while they're riding Toothless, a bunch of dragons get called to the big dragon to give it some food. And honestly, I completely forgot about this scene. Like, what the? So it's basically a big pit for all the dragons to give to like the mother dragon. So then we cut back to Hiccup's final exam, and in front of everyone, he basically tries to befriend this dragon. Safe to say that he fails because of his father. And that's when the king himself, Toothless, comes back and actually saves Hiccup. And honestly, this scene actually hurt my heart to watch. So then Hiccup's father literally disowns him. You gotta love parents. And then they go to find the dragon's huge nest. But at the same time, Hiccup and his kind of friends tame a lot of dragons. And then they end up swooping in and saving all the Vikings. But while this big battle is going on, Toothless ends up getting pushed into the water in his chains. And obviously Hiccup tries tries to swim down there and save him, but he isn't strong enough, so they both almost drown, but then Hiccup's father saves them both. Finally, Toothless defeats the huge dragon, but his tail was burned in the fire, so Toothless and Hiccup fell down into it. They both ended up living, or they couldn't make a sequel, but Hiccup does lose his leg. So now everyone rides dragons, and they're all friends, and they all live happily ever after. Until the sequel, or the sequels. Okay, honestly, I did not expect this movie to make me laugh as much as it did. Somehow it just inserts these freaking hilarious lines in the middle of a somewhat serious scene, and the characters will just say the most absolutely absurd things out of nowhere, and it works so well. But now I want to dive into these characters, so let's start off with the protagonist, Hiccup. Now this is a coming of age story, so Hiccup does go through the ringer a bit, but he's actually hilarious. And something I find so funny is that his main goal in the beginning of the movie is to kill a dragon just so he can get a girlfriend. And he just has some of the best lines ever, and he's just so awkward, and it's amazing to watch, especially when he's interacting with his father. This boy's just so relatable, and he learns throughout the movie how to stand up for what he believes in and fight for it as well. Now, Hiccup just wants to fit in with everyone. At the beginning of the movie, he literally says,
I see a dragon and I have to just kill it, you know? It's who I am, Dad.
and obviously that doesn't sound too sincere. Gober even tells him to stop trying so hard to be something he's not. And that's when Hiccup slowly befriends the dragons and learns how to train them. Get it? Train them. And it's actually really cool to see their relationship grow from strangers to best friends, basically. But the little hesitation before Toothless puts his head against Hiccup's hand just makes the whole scene feel so much more realistic, and it just works so well. But one question I did have was, did Hiccup catch all that fish himself, or did he steal the fish from the market or something? Because either you're telling me that he sat there for hours and caught that much fish, or no one even questioned why he was taking so much fish, like he was about to go eat it all himself. But speaking of Toothless, Toothless is literally designed to behave like a cat. He's very distrusting and skeptical of Hiccup when he first meets him, and obviously rightfully so because Hiccup injured his wing. But like all animals, food is the way to someone's heart, and of course, Toothless was starving because he couldn't fly out and get his own food. And it kind of reminds me of a cat I had. Her name was Dog, and yeah, that was her actual name. No, we did not name her that. Our neighbors did. And she was kind of like the neighborhood cat, but she basically adopted us. And that's exactly how Toothless and Hiccup are. And can I just talk about how this is literally the most adorable animated animal I've ever seen in my life. And I just love the scene when Toothless puts his tail in front of his face laying down to avoid Hiccup, because that's exactly what my cats do when they're annoyed with me or just want to be left alone. I mean, like, even the tiny dragons trying to steal away the food reminded me of my own dogs and cats. But now it's time to talk about Stoic, or Hiccup's father, who is the complete opposite of Hiccup. Now, they don't really know how to relate to each other, and I think that's why he felt like he finally had something in common with him, which is killing dragons, just for that to kind of be like pulled out from under him. But honestly, I was really surprised hearing him disown his son, because I did not expect that or remember that. But I feel like he kind of made up for it, I guess, by saving him from drowning. But I'm not even going to lie, this scene also made me cackle.
It's half of her breastplate. Matching set. Keeps her close, you know.
Now Gober, he is absolutely hilarious and great comic relief, and he surprisingly is a pretty good teacher and actually cares for Hiccup a lot. Now, before I truly give my analysis if I think this movie is as good as I remember, my girl Astrid, I feel like I can relate to this girl a lot, because I would be just as pissed if someone was one-upping me at whatever I do, especially out of nowhere when I put in a bunch of work and it seems like they didn't. But I like that she was the first one to discover Hiccup and Toothless, and I think that worked really well. Now, Hiccup and Astrid's relationship is fine, it's cute, it's not really the center point of the movie. Toothless and Hiccup are, so it's kind of just there. I mean, it makes sense, but it never particularly stood out to me. But me and Astrid are about on the same level when it comes to comforting people.
You've lost everything. Your father, your tribe, your best friend.
Thank you for summing that up.
Okay, so all of the teenagers in this movie are great, and they play off of each other so well. They all have such distinct personalities that a single line of dialogue conveys what type of person they are. I mean, this dude's just arrogant and douchey, and it's absolutely hilarious. And I love how knowledgeable Fishlegs is. And the twins play off each other so well, but every time the guy twin talked, I felt like I recognized his voice from something. I just couldn't place it. And I actually looked it up, and his voice actor actually plays Robbie from Gravity Falls. I mean, I could definitely see Robbie being like this if he lived in the medieval ages, except he would be more emo. Now, I need to quickly touch upon the soundtrack of this movie because it's amazing, and when you're in the battle, it feels so rambunctious and crazy, and when Toothless is flying, it just feels so mystical. My favorite scene definitely has to be when Toothless learns how to fly with the tail because the song just fits so well, the animation is gorgeous, and when they go through the rocks, it's just absolutely so sick and amazing to watch. But for real, whoever storyboarded that scene knew what they were doing because the cinematography is amazing. So overall, did How to Train Your Dragon meet my expectations? And I believe it completely obliterated my expectations, going above and beyond. I'm actually kind of glad I forgot this movie before I rewatched it because it is so good and amazing, and it's like a new surprise. For real though, I enjoyed this movie so much that I think even my mom would like it. And my mom hates animated movies. She's a reality TV kind of girl, and so am I, but I like both. I would definitely say this is one of my favorite DreamWorks movies, up there with Kung Fu Panda and the Bee Movie, of course. Should I do a review on the Bee Movie? I mean, I actually kind of liked it as a kid, so. But I definitely believe that this movie is on the same level as some of the Pixar classics. It is so good. How to Train Your Dragon is really a spectacular film with incredible characters, relationships, designs, and if I had to use one word to describe this movie, it would be epic. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you guys want to see more of your favorite animated films and TV shows, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Okay, thanks, bye!